Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It's markets in the morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market and the stock market as we get ready for the stock market to open in 3 minutes from right now. Take a peek at yields, take a peek over there at the metals and what's going on in crypto with Bitcoin price chart, Ethereum, XRP, altcoin market, Pepe. We'll take a peek and we'll talk about what's going on in the market right now. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. Thank you guys to see you in the chat. Thank you so much. If you could hit the thumbs up button, I'd sincerely appreciate it. It's the number one way to support the channel. But let's go ahead and dive into what's going on in markets starting out today on a Tuesday. Now, tomorrow is going to be a big day. Tomorrow we have the Fed meeting. It's expected that they will do a 25 basis point rate hike. So it's priced in pretty heavily. Let's take a look at it here really quick. It's massively priced in that's what's going to happen. So there you go. 94% chance that we will see a 25 basis point rate hike tomorrow. We will live stream that. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I guess you got to kind of figure out what time that is for wherever you live. I don't know what that is, UTC time. That's 1 o'clock Central. That's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And depending on where you are in the rest of the world, that'll be on you. But yeah, we'll live stream that and we'll put it on the small time frame stuff of Bitcoin and the stock market to see how it reacts to that live as Jerome Powell is speaking. We've done that the last couple of times. It's been fun. We kind of chatted about it ahead of time. Then I shut up my yapper and we just watched the charts and watched Jerome Powell speak at this for about a half an hour to see how the market responds to it. Market is likely not going to get surprised tomorrow, but there's been more banking crisis stuff with First Republic Bank that JP Morgan Chase has now taken over. And let's see, yesterday, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen came out and said if the debt ceiling is not raised by June 1st, they will pretty much have exhausted extraordinary measures. So, yeah, so we're in kind of a weird situation right now. I posted about that on Twitter yesterday. That here, let's dive in. We'll come back to crypto in here in just a second. We'll talk about that. Last week we were looking at these yields, right? This was really weird. Look at the 1 month now. It's come all the way back up here. But this was crazy because this is what the yield looked like right there. That was bizarre. So it had gone all the way back down to like 3.1%, which you look through this, that's just a massive drop to happen. That's not something we'd seen in this entire ride up in here. But what was interesting is that didn't happen in the 2 month, right? So the 2 month still kept on creeping its way up there. So why would the 2 month continue creeping higher and the 3 month continue creeping higher? But why did the 1 month have this dramatic sell off? And it's not really a sell off. It's actually just that the yield went down. It means there's likely a lot of buying of 1 month yields, in that it seems likely that people, institutions, investors, whatever, weren't wanting to put their money into 2 month and 3 month because that takes us past the Treasury's extraordinary measures date, and instead went with the 1 month. Now, I don't know what day the auction is for the 4-week Treasury right now. And so maybe that's why this has gone back up. Maybe the next auction date of the next 1 month takes us beyond then, right? Today is May 2nd. 4 weeks, it's 28 days. But I don't know what the settlement time is for the next auction. It might be after June 1st. So the yield is back up now because people aren't as excited about it anymore. But man, you could see these other yields are still higher. So it was just something weird that was observed 2 weeks ago, how there was just this sudden demand for only 1 month yields, and they weren't touching the 2 month, which is it's above 5% right now. And they weren't touching the 3 month. So of course the 6 month unaffected as well during that time frame as the 1 month was. So anyway, we have the Fed meeting tomorrow. It's a weird time because of the banking collapses that have been happening, and then with the debt ceiling coming up and the treasury bills acting so silly, so funny. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll live stream that tomorrow, but we'll have our typical markets in the morning as well. All right, looking at cryptocurrency. As the stock market just opened 1 minute ago, we can see that Bitcoin sits right there above $28,000, kind of a mix here throughout the cryptocurrency market, some down, some up. The highest up is about 2%, highest down is about 2%, at least on this list. Looking at Bitcoin on the thing that we've been talking about for a couple of weeks at this point right now, just kind of gradually moving on. Nothing's even to say really that this is going to break down right in here. Maybe we have our catalyst tomorrow when the Fed comes out. We'll see. We'll watch that live as that happens. As for XRP, still just kind of creeping on along in here currently right now. And I hope you guys are enjoying audio today. So we have audio in today's live stream. Hope you guys are enjoying that, as we did not yesterday. But looking here, XRP still just keeping on. I think, obviously the meme coin mania that's going on right now likely just has to do with a lot of boredom in the market right now, right? So Bitcoin, it's been working its way up for 4 months at this point. It has stalled out, and people are, bored now. I won't touch this because we're going to 12K. But then, this goes up 600% in 48 hours. I'll buy it, whatever. So obviously the big thing that's been going on has been Pepe. If you have not been on Twitter, I'm sure you have. It's all over YouTube. It's all over Twitter. Everybody's and their grandma has been buying it in the last 24 hours now that it has zoomed all the way to the top. I posted about this over there on Twitter yesterday that it has done a full 4.236 extension. Talked about it in the video yesterday. It was actually even a pinpoint nail of the 702 retracement on the crash retrace right to 702 reaccumulation 4.236 reach out. This potentially looks like a retrace right in here. Keep an eye on that. If this thing does break up and go higher, you have no measurable way to figure out how high this thing is going to go. But you do have everything right here saying be wary at this point. And we see typical retail investor behavior of everybody YOLOing in at the exact same time. It's typically the mark at the top. And we have the measurable distance to say it's the top. So if you are a person who bought this within the last 24 hours, you have acted just in line with typical retail euphoria behavior. That's not to take a shot at you. That's just to say that's what usually happens. You get to a 4.236, you didn't touch it, you let it go up 600%, you bought it at the peak. If it does go higher, I'm not cheering for people to get wrecked on this thing, but if it does go higher, you're going to kind of be on your own, being able to figure out how to measure where you intend on doing something with that. This is a meme coin, right? So it's the greater fool theory. So good luck out there. As for, but congrats to those who rode the whole thing up. Dude, you rocked it. You found something to kick major butt in during a boring time in the market. But for those who bought in the last 24 hours, be careful, please. As for Ethereum, still creeping along. It's just looking more and more like the creek phase before a spring happens in here. So we need some type of miracle on Ethereum to happen in here, get it back up into that $3,000 area. Then it's welcome to consolidate up in there. But as of right now, it's just not appearing like anything yet for Ethereum at this exact moment. As for the stock market just opened. Dow Jones down 170 points. So rough start. It was down 90 points, maybe just 5 minutes ago. So as the market is open, it has taken a little bit of a further plunge. Probably going to be some caution here in the market as it waits for the Fed tomorrow. So really, whatever ends up happening today, I think more the thing to pay attention to is going to be tomorrow. That's going to be our volatility. So typically on Fed week, right? It's been over a month since we've had one of these. Reminder, these are just typically volatile weeks. If you've noticed, when we do markets in the morning for the last couple of weeks, when it comes to news in the morning, there just hasn't been much to cover because none of it has really been all that important. Our volatility weeks come during these times of weeks when we have this stuff. So there's going to be repositioning, preparing, and then if there's any surprises, then there's going to be more repositioning and preparing. So usually the day before Fed Day, the day after Fed Day is when we'll have quite a bit of price action happening in the market. We're at the day before. So just kind of get ready. This is the times where we have volatility from actual events occurring in the world. As for gold, still just sitting up here right now. No real big decision has come from gold, as we've talked about many times, the inverse relationship between gold and the stock market. But as of right now, still, it just isn't. So doing anything at this point, sitting on top of the fib level. So there is that. But let's see what happens tomorrow. I think that's going to be more of the key. The big concern, of course, with that Dow Jones is just where it's at. It's back at those retracement levels, unable to get through. The best thing that the Dow has going for it at this point is just Elliott wave structure in here. If this thing was crashing and crumbling, you'd be looking for something like that. Instead, it does have the appearance of something more along the lines of an ABC correction in here. So it looks good. Again, the big problem is that right there, and it hasn't gotten through. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, and if there's any type of catalyst price action that can happen in there. Again, I did upload the new newsletter over the weekend. I mentioned that in yesterday's live stream, and I mentioned that in my video that I published yesterday. So there was a video published yesterday. We've already covered that. As for news out there, let's take a look at this. I haven't gone through the news today because I know the real news that matters right now is what's coming tomorrow. So that's going to be our main thing we're paying attention to tomorrow is going to be the Fed. That's where the price action is likely going to happen. We know how these things go during bearish periods. Like you just sit here. Oh, yeah, strategy. We'll talk about that for a second. ARK Invest. Okay. Like, why is this news? ARK Invest spends International Workers' Day buying 8 million in Coinbase shares. Okay. Yeah, they just celebrated International Workers' Day and celebrated it and said, we're going to buy 8 million in Coinbase to celebrate today. I doubt that. Okay. Samsung employees banned from using ChatGPT, like AI tools. Blur, NFT lending. Okay. Godfather of AI resigns from Google, warns of the dangers. Okay. MicroStrategy. So yeah, MicroStrategy released their earnings. They are not a profitable company. They are getting hammered. Of course, they make this image to make him look like a god here of Bitcoin. Not so much. MicroStrategy, the company, I think they reported a $40 million loss in revenue in Q1, and they're servicing their debts. They're just financially not good. That's not FUD. You could read the balance sheet and you can make your own decision on that. They did mention in there that they will have some debt that will be due in 2025. And that in order to do that, they would have to, sell off shares of the company, sell off their Bitcoin, all that stuff. My theory has always been that they will sell all of their Bitcoin before the new all-time high. That has been my theory. That is my theory on why Michael Saylor is not in the position of CEO. It is a great way to save face that when MicroStrategy, the company, sells off all of their Bitcoin, he'll just have to say, it was out of my control. It was a business decision. I'm not the CEO. I couldn't make that decision. I did say mortgage your house and buy a bunch of Bitcoin, and I believe that still. But it wasn't my decision because I'm not CEO anymore. That is why I think he is not CEO. I do believe they will sell off all their Bitcoin before the new all-time high. We'll all find out, right? And I know for a lot of Bitcoiners, that's FUD to them, especially the ones who came in 2021. If you don't know, Michael Saylor was not here in 2018, 2019, and 2020. He showed up 1 month before the bull run. It was nobody. He was a nobody in the crypto market, showed up in the bull run and just hyped retail to buy the top. So look at the way he's perceived. This is all intentional. This is made to look like he is a genius. Okay. CoinDesk. I'm such a hater on news. If you don't know that, I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch NBC. I don't watch any news at all. because I think they're just writing stuff to write stuff. They just say things to say things. Okay. I just can't find a single thing to talk about that's interesting on there. Let's go to the real stock market and see what's going on here. Uber revenue beats expectations and the stock is up. Wow. Okay. That simple high text from a stranger could be the start of the scam that ends up costing you millions. Yes, it's true. I got one of those text messages yesterday. I did not reply to it. Especially when they start with, "Hi, dear. It's been a long time since we've talked." Yeah, I don't have your phone number in my phone, and nobody calls me dear that I know. Yeah. Wall Street is cutting more jobs as Morgan Stanley plans layoffs. Okay. JP Morgan. Okay, boy, they're really slamming that in our face, huh? Okay. All right, guys, this is the big thing that matters. This is the news. Again, none of that stuff matters. That's our big thing tomorrow. The FOMC statement, federal interest rate decision, and then Jerome Powell's press conference. That is the event of the week. None of the news to keep us busy and entertained over the next day is going to matter. That's what's going to matter for the next 72 hours. That will be it. So we'll have today where market kind of positions itself for it. Tomorrow, volatility through the moment. And then Thursday, where the market decides to settle itself after it's digested the information that it's received. And then Friday, hopefully things kind of calm down a little bit. But expect the next couple of days to be a little bit of a weird ride. So trying to think, is there anything else we need to cover? It's just that nothing has really changed in the market since yesterday. Just the big thing on Twitter, obviously, is this guy, is Pepe. Everybody is meme coin mania right now. So I think I saw at least 5 people that I follow saying they were buying Pepe yesterday. At least 5. And then I know there were YouTube videos released yesterday that said how to buy Pepe. So that's typically... and when how to buy a random altcoin gets a lot of views, that typically means the price has already significantly risen. I'm all for Pepe being the next meme coin. I'm all for riding this thing to the moon and just degening it all we want. But, if you get beyond here, just I hope that people have a plan. I just don't want to see people get wrecked on this thing, dude. I'm all about price rises, but this is the point where I'd be fully out. All right. Trying to think, is there anything else we need to go through? I think it's just we're in a paused moment for tomorrow. I think tomorrow is where we get all ready for everything. So, all right. Let's see what you guys have to say. Quentin Weiss, thank you very much. He says, "Hey, bro, what's your TA on cattle and feeder cattle futures from a southern Alberta cattle rancher? I'm bullish." Pun intended. Much love, my friend. All right, let's do it, dude. Let's do it. It's been a long time since I've looked at that. It was at live cattle, right? Did it really go to all-time high? Oh my gosh, it did. I like to eat steak, but it is so expensive now. I used to buy, so I am bougie with my steaks. My steaks used to be $13.99 a pound that I would buy. Now they're like $19.99 a pound. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. It poked the all-time high, but it had a failure. Commodities like this. Just hard. I don't know, man. I don't know. Commodities are very challenging. And you could see that. Hit the all-time high, wicked it. Pretty ugly candle right in there. But, dude, you just had an all-time high on cattle. So if you're a cattle farmer, Life is good right now, except you're probably paying more for other stuff to feed your cattle, but hopefully it helps your margins a little bit. JR Flight 10. If ETH springs, what happens to the rest of the alts? Well, you would think they would all spring back down too. Thank you, JR. Ramsey Suda says, thanks for your consistent insight. I sent some merch ideas via Twitter DM. Let me know what you think. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Ramsey, thank you. Gino says, BCB, I'm curious to know what your travel rig mobile office looks like when you're away from home, computer, audio. It can, sometimes I can bring different stuff, but a lot of times it's just a laptop. Unless I have room to pack more stuff. But in my most basic setup, so I was able to bring my good mic with me this time. But sometimes when I travel, which I only bring my headset and my little mic and like the microphone that connects to a headset. And for some reason with my laptop, that one has problems and it just wants to sound cruddy. Like if you guys were around during October of 2021, which I'm sure many of you were, because that's when Bitcoin was getting ready to set a new all-time high. I was traveling the United States with my wife, and my audio kind of stunk on that trip, if you remember, I think, right? And then when I went to Miami, not only was my voice bad, but my audio was bad too. So you really, like literally, like that's all you need. If you have a good laptop and you have a headset that works with your laptop, that's all you need. Like my first 100,000 subscribers was with a headset and the microphone that connects to the headset. That was and as you can see, I don't do video, right? I don't do camera. I mean, sometimes I go on camera for like interviews and stuff like that. And I'll go out in person and stuff, but I don't choose to be on camera the whole time that I'm talking. That way I don't have to, like, I call it face acting. I don't want to have to face act. I'd like to just be sincere. And I can do that if I'm not having to worry about what my appearance is like while I'm on camera. And I was able to do that and build all of the channel to over 100,000 with just what is this? Like a $60 HyperX Cloud 2 headset. Seriously. That's the first 100,000 subscribers. And that's the microphone I use. I didn't have some fancy stuff. Now I do use like a Shure M7 or something like that. But not for the first two years. So you could do it. You could do it with whatever you want. Just, you know. Alexander. Anybody else have an audio issues? Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh, NVIDIA broke up. Let's go look at it. How about that, huh? So you got one more, right? So you got this peak right here. This is a dangerous one. It looks like it poked above it slightly, huh? Looks like it wicked above it. Let's take a look at it off of log scale. So this is your third range boundary area. So even if it was bullish, right, you would still expect pulling back to happen in from right here. If it goes beyond here, it goes beyond the last retracement level. From a TA perspective, you don't have much to say about it. It's at that point just kind of gambling. And you wouldn't have any real rules to follow going beyond there. So let's see if that wick mattered. Yeah. No, all I can say is you got the last one right there. Eyes on it. If it breaks through it, well, then you're through all retracement levels. But the problem you have here is this is a straight line up. And typically, you're not going to go like this. It's just typically not going to happen. It's typically going to have some type of accumulation, even if it is bullish. So you'd be looking for more of this being like a wave 4, and then you could go. But you got to have some serious kahunas to be longing it at this point right here. Hot Tub Brian, thank you. Not whiskey too. I missed that, man. Hot Tub Brian, thank you. What's your thoughts in rolling your cash and profits into housing and real estate within the next year? No, because it's just it's extraordinarily high. Now, I don't think it's at a point where it's going to crash, but like, so I think just the idea of housing, it's especially at these levels where we're at right now, you have so many people who are being landlords. You have so many people who are playing in this game that feels oversaturated. Like how many? There's 1,300 people listening right now. I'm gonna bet you there's at least 50 people in here who are probably landlords and own a house and rent it out to somebody or have an Airbnb. That's a number I pulled completely out of my backside. I have literally no clue, but I'm gonna guess it's that much. I don't think that, like I've talked about, I don't think the housing market in itself is weak. Like, I know everybody wants a great financial crisis. Like, you know, a housing crash like happened in 2008. We've talked about that. The conditions are just so different right now. One, unemployment is very low. So people can pay their mortgages. And two, yes, while prices are very high, the vast majority of people did not pay these prices. The vast majority of people already got into their house at lower prices, and they got in at a lower interest rate, or they refinanced their house from 2020 through 2022 and locked in a 2.99 to 3.25% interest rate. So they not only aren't paying, like everybody focuses on how much a house costs right now to say the housing market has to crash because of how much a house costs, but forget that the floor underneath this housing market is pretty strong. But buying at these levels, buying at these mortgage rates, and then trying to rent the house out, how much risk is being exposed at this level to make what? You know, a couple $100 a month of recurring revenue, and then kind of have the headache and the risk that if somebody doesn't pay their rent and they're out, like if a tenant is not in that house for 2 months out of a year, then the entire year's worth of profits are gone. So the margins are just not that huge for the risk that has to be taken on. So for me personally, getting into real estate to like rent out, it's not my thing. And I do go read articles on people who are not articles. I follow people on Twitter who talk about their tenant nightmares. And so it's not something that I'm in particularly interested in. As for owning a land, I'm all about owning some land. Problem is, land prices are up too. Thing is, though, I haven't actually checked on land prices in about a year. So I should probably check on those to see what those are like. But again, what are you really going to do with land is from an investment perspective. Yeah. Ryan says housing down in Austin. The housing is down in Austin, but still going nuts. Yeah, so Austin was one of the ones that were majorly affected, but that's because the bubble got so insane in Austin. Like a 1,200 square foot house, $450,000, and a very, cheap, crummy 1,200 square foot house for $450, right? We're talking like bottom of the barrel. That's how much they were going for. Whereas just 10 years ago, that same house was 140, 150. So it was like a 3x on the value of that house just in the last 10 years. So Austin definitely had its own kind of crazy bubble. It was one of the biggest housing bubbles in the country with Austin. So, all right. Yeah, real estate is not really super interesting to me. There you go, Hot Tub. Jeremy, thank you. Any chance a bullish outcome on rates tomorrow pushes above your 30,500 level and validates your expectations? Well, there's a chance of anything. I don't really know how to answer that question, Jeremy. We'll have to see what the market does. I don't know. I don't know what the market needs to get surprised tomorrow. I don't know what the Fed would have to say for the market to be YOLO. Riaz, I see in 2021, BCB teachable, you charted exit targets for EOS, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Zcash. Any updates on the videos for these? Are the targets the same? Everything stays the same. It's only if they hit those targets prior to Bitcoin hitting a retracement level. So if Bitcoin hits a retracement level first, boom, that's it. That's where they end. But if they hit targets first, out. Now, as for any of those, the fact that they're not moving, my gut feeling tells me probably pretty unlikely. I'd say if there's any of them that have maybe a chance, and it's a long shot, would be Zcash. But we'll see. We'll see. The things that are going for at least Dash and Zcash, I was looking at their developer reports just the other day, is that they at least have developer growth. So EOS in 2019 had the most developed, outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, had the most developers, right? It had over 300 full-time developers, I believe. I have to recheck those numbers because I don't want to say I'm making that up entirely, but they certainly was number 3. And for transaction volume was number 3. So we're talking way more transaction volume than XRP had. Bitcoin Cash even had way more transaction volume than XRP had. But both of those have really fallen off on developer and interest. And so we're talking we talked about it in late 2021 is when EOS stopped updating their Twitter. We saw development just falling off a cliff on that. And now EOS is down to 22 developers. So plunging, right? So interest has been lost there, not just from the community, but even developer interest over there has been lost on EOS. So hard to say on that one, on what could come from that, from something that was number 3, top dog. Top dog altcoin besides Ethereum. It was EOS and then was followed by Bitcoin Cash. But we've seen both of those deplete really hard. And even in the last year, right, with EOS sitting at 22 developers, that's down 41% over the last 2 years. Now, that is up 16% year over year. I can't really do the math off the top of my head what 16% gain is at 22. Maybe they went from 19 to 22. But over the 2-year period, it's down 41% for total full-time developers for EOS, with 80 either part-time, full-time, or one-time contributors. But if you look at so Zcash is up 28%, full-time developers year over year, up 64% over the 2 years. And then for part-time, full-time, and one-time contributors, they are up 29% year over year. And numbers are similar for Dash. Dash is up 71% on full-time developers, but up only 14% on one-time, part-time, or full-time contributors. So why are we still on NVIDIA? Get this off the screen. Okay. But EOS has just plunged. It was like the fall from grace, man. The top dog gone down. So we'll see on those, man. Not too optimistic on them at this point of getting their enthusiasm back. XRP 923, Bitcoin 50K by August. Time prediction, I need it right away. I don't know why August would be the time. Who knows, dude? But thank you, Jeremy. Blockfella, BCB the GOAT. First timers write on regular chat, then got to super to donate. That's why. Happened to me. Oh. So they write in the regular chat not knowing they need to type it into the super thing. Okay. And Jeremy, that was your first time. Thank you. Blockfella, thank you. Yeah. So it's good. And Ramsey, I don't know if I acknowledged that was your first time too. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I figured there's something that happens because it happens to so many people. Chris Goat. I know you don't review currencies, but can you take a look at the USD over Mexican peso? Any TA takeaway? It's talk of the town down here. Thank you. Well, okay. I am not a Forex expert in any way. Yeah, that looks like a breakdown to me. So obviously, your eyes tell you, hey, look, big breakdown. Right? That's what your eyes tell you. But you are at a support level when you get rid of that visualization and you say, well, where are we? Right? So like to imagine what this is, you could imagine like what Bitcoin is at right now. And so our eyes kind of deceive us a little bit here, but that, this is your run up, consolidation, a short squeeze, and then it loses it, right? So what have we been talking about with Bitcoin down here? Right. So thing I'd be looking for probably, and again, I have no idea what's going on with the Mexican peso. Just absolutely no clue. And that. And that. So retracement. But, I'm not even certain. One thing about technical analysis and indicators is that, not all indicators will be treated equally on different assets and asset classes. So if I don't even know, do Fibonacci's work on this particular asset class, right? Kinda. Kinda. So you have two different circumstances in which it goes back into retracements and reconsolidates both times. That's exactly what it does. But, figuring out, is it, more pertaining to volatility, Bollinger Bands, strength swings, right? Yeah, that's a trend change, right? So you see how weak that short squeeze was right there? So there's some kind of event that likely happened right there at that time. So something must have happened to the peso there. Oh, that's March of 2020. I wonder what happened. That was when everybody flocked to the dollar, right? Right. So the way this is this is the peso getting stronger against the dollar, right? So this is the value of the Mexican peso. No, this is how many pesos you can get for $1, right? So it's going down, which means your dollar buys you less pesos. So it's getting stronger. So it's the talk of the town, right? Is that what you said? Down here in Mexico. So everybody's like excited in Mexico, huh? Probably, right? Been seeing that happen for so long. But yeah, no, it looks reversally. But the problem is if you're kind of celebrating right now and whether or not this is a big, massive breakdown. I don't think it is just yet. It does look like a trend change reversal, but that this may take years to play out. So there's kind of your example of what you've had happen here currently. But if that low gets taken out right there at 17.5, hey, off and away you go. Congratulations to the Mexican peso. I hope that answered your question, Chris. Thank you. And you donated in Mexican pesos. Thank you. Huh. Joke's on you, man. Those are going up in value. All right. Ria's, hey, Raptor. Hey, Ratifar 20. Oh yeah, we already did that one. Thank you, Riaz. Michael, hey BCB, God bless you, sir. Love that you serve the Lord. You inspire me. Also, what's your opinion about the new bank closure the other day and what it could possibly reflect on the market? I don't know, man. Like we've been having this go on for I guess 2 months now, right? It was almost 2 months ago when we had our first bank failure. I don't know, man. I think we need to hear from the Fed and hear what they say. I've had my own thoughts on all of it, and obviously, what's his name? Balaji has had his own thoughts on it. What did he say? Bitcoin to $1 million in 90 days. I think we're at like 55 or 60 days right now, but Bitcoin's up $1,000. It's got only 970,000 to go. It's not going at all. Have we seen the world fall apart? Have we seen the stock market fall apart from those particular bank closures or failures? Not yet. Does it take time like dominoes to fall? It might. But boy, you probably would have expected something by now. I know I wrote a newsletter on it right now. The Fed's kind of it's a weird position. Are they going to save? They're going to save the banks, so they're going to have to print money. Will the debt ceiling get raised? And that's one thing that I find interesting that I do put my tinfoil hat on to think about with the debt ceiling. If I asked you right now, everybody listening, if I asked you individually, I'm speaking directly to you. I'm asking, will Congress raise the debt ceiling in time? Right? Is this political theater? Your answer is probably yes. This is political theater. Of course, they will raise the debt ceiling, right? And you go back and you think about like all the last ones that we've had, and not everybody was convinced of that. Like a lot of people thought maybe they wouldn't, or what would happen. And there have been some times where they're kind of a little bit late to it. Remember the government did shut down one time, and I wasn't like impacted by like national park closures or being a government employee or anything, but I enjoy watching Deadliest Catch because deep down in my heart, I'm a crazy Alaskan crab fisherman in my imagination. And there was a season where they couldn't go out for a week or two because everything was closed. So the fisheries were closed because people couldn't get their permits to go fishing. So will they raise the debt ceiling? I think everybody is completely convinced that they are. But the problem is everybody's also up in arms and screaming about inflation. So which one do you want? Is the government backed into a lose-lose scenario? If they raise the debt ceiling and increase inflation, are you going to yell at them? Yes. If they don't do anything and they let the government shut down and then the Treasury doesn't pay their bills, are you going to yell at them? Yes. So it's a weird one, right? It's a weird one to think about. So I don't know. The bank closure is one thing, right? The bank failure is one thing on its own. I think there's a lot of other stuff going on too. I think we're in a real weird position. Asa Dalbra says, I'd like them to raise the ceiling, but have a serious plan in place laid out on how to start paying it off properly and stop kicking the can. Right, but they won't, right? So they'll just raise the debt ceiling and they won't have a plan. So what do? If you had the choice on what the government should do right now, either let the economy completely crash and crumble on itself by not raising the debt ceiling, which means unemployment will go up really high, stock market will crash, or raise the debt ceiling with no plan. Which one do you choose? And unemployment going up really high, let's just say you are included in that, you will lose your job. And your family members will lose their job. And you'll lose your house. And your car will get repossessed. Which one do you want? Or raise the debt ceiling and have no plan. I think that's the situation we're in. So I don't know. I'd say, let's see what the Fed has to say tomorrow about it. Because I think they kind of acknowledge it. They said our banking system is resilient, blah, 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 during the last one, but we'll see. And, this is a thing of its own. The banking thing is a crisis, is, a narrative, but narratives tend to show up when they're supposed to show up too, right? So we know the Dow is at a situation that is very sketchy. And this is we'll look back on this and say, hey, that's sketchy. AF, sketchy AF. That's so sketchy. You have 5 waves up and you just hit a retracement level. It's a perfect time for the sky is falling narratives to arrive. It is completely perfect time. So I don't know. I don't know if we're watching a movie play. We might be. I am shocked. I am shocked that we haven't seen anything happen after the first banking crises. That this is what happens, and then everything is fine and dandy since, right? We've been up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excluding today and yesterday, 6 out of the last 7 have been up. Now we're getting ready for Fed. What will happen here, right? That's an interesting candle to show up right in there. But yeah, I don't know. Let's get through tomorrow. I'm rambling at this point, but that's because you can clearly see if I'm trying to dissect the narrative, it's a complicated one right now. And also as a tinfoil hat person, I know this is going on at the exact same time. So, and I think some people, they intentionally are doomers for the sake of being doomers, but I know this is when doom happens. This is when bad things can happen. So I'm definitely on caution. And the one thing I know too is that black swans typically show up at the right time. And we're usually not going to be able to predict them. Everybody wants to be able to predict them, but the definition of a black swan is that it is unpredictable, that you would not have guessed that would have been it. And so everybody says, black swan, here, I'm guessing what the black swan is going to be. No, you're not, because it's unpredictable. It'll be something we didn't see coming. And we're in a position right now for one to arrive. So weird. It's a weird time in the world. Weird time. We're moving on. Thank you, Michael. Quentin. Oh, here we go. If you're bougie with your beef, you must like Wagyu. I raise those. If you send me an F, I'll steak it and send you 2 ribeyes back. Nice. Okay, no, truth be told. All right, here we go. Somebody type a recipe in here. Okay, listen here. I'm going to teach you guys how to cook a steak, and then somebody has to teach me how to cook Wagyu, because I can't cook it right. I look at it. It's marbled as can possibly be. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is going to be so delicious. I cook it, and it tastes like a regular dang steak. I'd rather get tenderloin, or I'd rather, get a filet than Wagyu. But here, always buy the filet, right? You don't even have to get prime. Right? Just go get your nice choice. It's fine. It's fine. Just go get choice. Used to be $13.99 a pound. Now it's $19.99 a pound. But go get some choice. And here is the recipe for steaks. Are you all ready? Okay. You're going to crush it. You're going to crush it. And we're going to talk propane. Okay. Propane and propane accessories. High heat. Okay. Depending on what kind of grill you got. High heat, but only high heat on one side of your grill. Okay. So if you have 4 burners, okay, in particular, I have 5 burners, but let's say you have 4. Okay. Turn the right 2 on high. Okay. Get that nice and hot, clean your grates. And what you're going to do is you're going to throw your steaks directly onto the heat, leave them there for 4 minutes. Okay. Close the grill, leave it there for 4 minutes. Open it up, flip them over, leave it there for another 4 minutes. Okay. Then you're going to take it off the direct heat, and you're going to shift it over there to the left side of the grill where it's not over the direct heat, but you're still going to leave those two burners going at full blast. Okay. So now you're practically just baking your steak inside of your grill at this point. And you go ahead and put a temperature probe in there and get the temperature to where you like it, right? 135, that's where you're going to come out with pink center, but not too pink, right? If your guests like it like more medium, get it up to 145. And if your guests like it more like well done at like 155, you politely yet firmly ask those people to leave. But if you want it nice and kind of medium rare, 135, that's how you do it. Pull that thing out of there. It's going to be the best. Long range crypto, 129. Yeah, I tried that many times, right? So that's like the upper bound of medium rare. But I've found that at 135, you're still getting that medium rare, even though it's technically defined in the medium range. It's still actually like medium rare this way. And it's actually awesome. Sunny P. Quit eating meat. You should, I'm going to ask you politely yet firmly to leave. Okay. 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 So that's it. High heat, 4 minutes each side. Move it to the other side of the grill, off of direct heat. Cook it until it gets to the correct temperature. Thank me later. Tag me in a picture on Twitter showing me that you did it, and report back to me. And yeah, there you go. Okay. Thank you, Quentin. You got me over the. Did somebody give me the Wagyu recipe? I can't cook Wagyu for the life of me. I've tried. It doesn't come out better than filet. The butter bath. Isaac Kinner, the butter bath. Yeah. So I've been meaning, just thinking about the other day, I need to be playing with like maybe like searing it first too, to see what that does do. I've never actually really even tried the seared method, sear it for a minute on every side before throwing it on there, kind of like retain that juice. But I also just don't want to dry out the outside. But butter bath. Wagyu, yeah, you'll find it at most grocery stores, Evan. Sear it last? No way. Okay, we're okay. Sorry, I'm gonna lose people here. We'll move on. People are like, I don't care about this. Okay, okay, we're okay. Get back on track, BCP. You could do it. Yeah, I need to save this kind of stuff for like Twitch, right? So if you guys don't know, I set up a Twitch channel like 6 months ago, but I've never used it. Yeah, maybe one day. Hang out, go fishing, and like cook steaks and stuff. That's what that needs to be for. So people aren't like, you need to be talking about Pepe. Talk about Pepe. Oh, Pepe took a little bit of a dump. There we go. So yeah, Pepe's way up there. All right, let me have a sip of water here. All right, let's go. Ryan Rendon says, thank you for the developer list info yesterday. Sure, man. I'm planning on putting together even more on that. As you can see, I could rattle off those stats here in this video because I've created this giant Excel sheet. So I know a lot about what coins have developers working on them and which ones have them fading. And I've compared that to what happened to those assets in 2021 for the ones that had developer fading and who had developer growth. And there did seem to be a correlation. Daniel says, hello, mister. Can I ask, how does F spring all the way back down with Bitcoin just pulling back to 23 to 24K region? Thank you. Much love you. All right, thank you. So let's do a measurement, right? So let's say Bitcoin tumbles here, 13%. What is 13% on F? 13% gets you down to about 1,600. Would 1,600 be okay? Maybe. So like when you look at, what did the bottom of Bitcoin look like in 2018? I don't remember if it really went that deep when it's spring. When did it spring? So you can see how far down it kind of went for in its spring in here, right? Oh, about 50%. It's not too far off, like just 15%, that's at 18, right? But the reality is I would have at this phase right here, if it does go into spring, I'm actually hoping it doesn't go into spring. I'll buy more of it if it does, but I'm going to lose some of my like fantasy optimism of Ethereum going into a super cycle. If it does go into a really deep spring, I will lose some of that entertainment that I've had. You guys know it. We've talked about this. 2021, we got the top of Bitcoin. Happened to get the top of Ethereum on the actual day too. But with Bitcoin, a lot of it was tied to, we were completing our third super cycle for Bitcoin. I'm not going to go deep into super cycles on Ethereum here. And if you can't tell, your eyes may play tricks on you. This whole thing right in here is the literal exact same as this is right here, with similar correction structures as well. If we start really kind of petering out in here, it's just going to be hard to be like, this thing is so strong, it's going to just keep on going and doing something crazy if we have to go back and revisit these lows all over again and work its way out. I'm just going to start kind of like being like, all right, maybe the original idea is right. This thing is just going to retrace and that's about it. But also at the same time, when it comes to a spring, if it does end up coming, guessing what that number is going to be very difficult. I will look for the things that I always look for and that I show you guys on this channel and we've watched play out many, many times in a spring phase is the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, rolls back up to wave 4 within wave 5, and then catching that next dip, wherever that may end up land if we have something in that form. That's the only way I know how to be able to attempt to guess where this could happen in a spring phase. But like I've mentioned in yesterday's video, I've talked about this in my newsletter, I've talked about this on bcbacker.com, I've talked about this in the live stream, and I talked about it in my video yesterday. Current positioning that where Ethereum is at right here makes it very, very, very difficult on deciphering that right now, where this is going to go. Looks like gold's getting a little bit of a move up this morning. Stock market, Dow Jones down 356. Bloodbath over there, and that's not too bad. You got Roblox down, Caterpillar, Google, Ford, Arc, Netflix, all down more than 1%. But yeah, that's where you're at. You're just at this particular price level is very challenging due to the fact of the failed breakout. The failed breakout is not what you would look for a quick move. You would have liked to see it get a very clean breakout and then consolidate. This opens up the door for spring. Right there, that opens up the door for a spring phase and a Wyckoff accumulation. But as we pointed out in all those different things I just mentioned, it opens the door for something more like this. Again, like I even said in my video, I cannot stand TA YouTube videos that do that, that will sit there and say this, 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 and then tell you they were right at the end. It's incredibly important for me on my YouTube channel that I am not like that. But I will say at this particular price level, I am like that. I wasn't like that down here. Buying, 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 up, up, up. Here, we're in a challenging situation right now. This is very difficult because of the failed breakout. So now we have to sit back and wait. There's no real clear answer for me right here. If this thing just starts going like this, anybody remember what that's called? That is your creek, and that usually signals that you're going to do that. So if we just waddle here for several weeks on end, probably not a good sign. At least not a good sign for those who are wanting a breakout right now. For those who got maybe left behind, maybe. But something tells me, because I know this market so well, I know retail investors so well. Hey, look, we're getting a nice little pop up here. They were not willing to buy Bitcoin at 15,500 because they wanted to buy it for 12, right? But they're all buying Pepe. But they're all buying Pepe. All those same people, guarantee it. If you're that person that was commenting on anything saying we were going to 12K and then you bought Pepe in the last 24 hours, man, dude, look in the mirror, bro. That's not to take a shot at people who bought Pepe. I understand that. Like, I understand the excitement, the culture, the community, the fun. Everybody's having a good time with it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the people who are saying, we're going to 12K blockchain, Becker. And then buying Pepe. So, all right. I hope that, I hope to be on the Pepe train at some point. But I cannot for the life of me get on that Pepe train right there. There's just no way for me to do it. I'll get on the Pepe train down here. I'll get on it down here. A long correction happens in here. I'll hop on that. This is probably going to be the meme coin of 2023. But I can't get on it right here. I would get on it down here. I wish I had noticed this chart. I think this asset's 12 days old, right? Brand new asset. I wish I had paid more attention to it. I probably still, I probably would have only put like $100 or $200 into it. So it's not like I would have like gotten filthy rich on this thing because, you gotta be worried that it's a rug pull. That's what happens. But, I might go a little heavy down here. But I would have to get a very clean correction to do something like that. So, all right. But we're getting a little bit of price action here in the crypto market right now. Ethereum's getting a nice pop. We've got some green in here. Is the stock market turning up? What is going on here? No, it's still down 369, down over 1% in the Dow, more than 1% in the S&P, down 0.7% over there in the NASDAQ. But quick pop there on Ethereum and a quick pop over there on Bitcoin. Altcoin market flips green. Sweet. Dude, I'll take it. All right, Oscar. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, Super Sticker. Inna Ash says, #1 channel to start my day since 12 of 2020. Wow. That's right when Bitcoin was getting ready to break out into the all-time high. #1 channel to keep me sane in the midst of insane volatility in the market while studying your course. Thanks for everyday presence, sincerity, sharing yourself, and hard work. Much love. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you. As generous, super chat. Thank you very much. Yes, that was one of the things that was mentioned to me in person by people when I was in Austin. And that has been something that has always been important to me, is that you mentioned keeping you sane in the midst of insane volatility and showing up every day. There's no doubt that there are times where I'm probably feeling the exact same pain everybody else is feeling, where I am wanting to crawl into a corner. I'm wanting to cry. I'm wanting to rock back and forth, holding my knees in a corner, shivering and cold. But I've been through so many of them. I do know those are not the times for me to be making some types of decisions, but it's time for me to kind of sit back and be calm and relax and figure out, like, try to assess things and take it from there to making decisions when the times are smarter. For example, like Pepe, this is not a time for me to be emotional and think the train is getting away from me. It's time for me to say, I know this structure. I know this is a crash, retrace, reaccumulation. I know that's a 4.236 extension. If this thing breaks up and goes much higher, well, then you know what? There was just nothing I could do about that. It had to go. But I don't have to FOMO into it knowing this is the stuff, right? This is the things we saw Ethereum do in 2017. We saw Neo do it in 2017. We saw Bitcoin do it in 2021. This is just normal stuff. And to not like let my emotions and to want to be part of the crowd, because believe me, I want to be part of the crowd. I want to be part of the fun. But I can't. And then, the other thing is showing up every day. Like I said, there's days you want to crawl into a corner and cry, but you show up every day. And I know that is hard sometimes. And I know that that does set me apart from many people. There are other people who show up every single day. But there's a lot who don't, who do fade when the times get tough. But that I always show up regardless of what's going on. And we get through it together, whatever it is. And people told me that in person, and that was awesome to hear. So S&P is melting, T says. Yeah, the whole stock market is melting, but crypto is surviving somehow. Hope this is I wonder if it's a trick. I don't know. I don't know. Right, stock market. Where are you, stock market? There you are. 423. Woo! We missing something that happened here? Let's go refresh CNBC to see what they have to tell us. Bank shares slide. I think everything is sliding. I don't think it's just bank shares. All right. Yeah. All right. Wild day heading in the markets. Maybe the market is sending a message to the Fed. Listen, we're not doing it anymore. All right. Ooh, I still have this Mexican peso thing on here. It's messing with me big time. If I put that back on. There we go. There we go. And we're back to our usual stuff. Okay. Baby Oscar Hernandez shows up and says, I'm buying XRP with me piggy banko. Frog, pig. Looks like a money strap. Thank you, baby Oscar Hernandez. And thank you, Ina, for the kind words. Brian Chavez says, hey, BCB, been a fan since not selling in 2019. Is it possible to chart unemployment with fibs? I don't know. I haven't tried because I don't think can you import unemployment data in here? I don't think so. I've never tried. But it is weird. You do find relationships of fibs in other things. I think the weirdest one I had ever found it on was on the pending home sales index from the great financial crisis. I think this thing has gotten out of control at this point, though. I'll do it this way. Sorry, I'm still here. Okay, here we go. This was the peak prior to the great financial crisis. And then we fell, right? And then it went back to a 702 retracement on pending home sales. And we're talking, this is over the course of a decade that pending home sales did this until they plunged with C19, right? This was bizarre to me that we could find it in weird data that is like typically not like something you're just sitting there charting, to see pending home sales do that and go back into that retracement in there. But as for unemployment, no clue. But thank you, Brian. It's your first time, and you got it right, man. You got the message in on the first try. Thank you. Annie Philpott says, what's your entry price for Ethereum? So I still own some Ethereum that was accumulated all in here and in here. But it's not much of my Ethereum. It's maybe, how much would it be? Maybe 10% of my Ethereum is still from back in here that I have now. So 10% of it's at like a $150 cost average. The rest of it was all bought in here, which was the $1,100 to $1,300 price range. I could have gotten a little bit better prices back in here, but at this point, I wasn't deploying capital into the markets at this time in June. Oscar says, which cryptos are forks from Bitcoin and which are similar to Bitcoin? I don't even know the whole list, man. Both. All right, what is Doge, everybody? Is Doge a fork of Bitcoin? Do people know? That'd be a curious one. So, back in the day. Oh, see, everybody says, yes, it is a fork of Bitcoin. Oh, Eric Smith says, fork of bit, fork of light. Yes, exactly. Correct. Rock TV. I think Eric Smith was saying it, but Rock TV said it clear. Doge is a fork of Litecoin. Litecoin is a fork of Bitcoin. Doge is a fork of Litecoin. There you go. Comes production. What the fork? Yep. So, yeah, I don't know how big that list is. In the early days, right, before anything that came before XRP was a fork of Bitcoin. Mr. Q. Pepe is a fork of XRP. No, it's not. Excel question. You asked an Excel question. Oh, here we go. Will your next course include Excel charts like that? How much to make with X amount? I haven't decided if I'm going to put together. I want to put together like a good one. I think I need to tap TXMC and be like, hey, dude, can you help me make some crazy Excel sheet? Because he's so good at that stuff. I might ask him to kind of help on that. We'll see if he says yes. He might say no. I don't know. So we'll see. Sick Thinker. Peps. I'm having trouble getting your airdrop, brother. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a way, like with airdrops, like I don't have like a customer service thing to do, It's all on the chain. So I don't have it's not like I have extra ones to be able to do anything. It's all on the block. It's all on the ledger. What problem are you having? Oh, you're just asking for other people. I got mine. Oh, I don't know. BCB XRP is a fork from you. Yeah, no. Somebody says that I don't see that clearly. Links. So the thing is on this, it's just so shallow. Right. Okay. So I see what you're saying here, right? You're saying, I doubt it, man. So like, right. So I'm going to just shift this for a second. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would say just no. That's the problem. I just don't think so. It may be stopped for now, and like it may pull back up in here. I just doubt it's the end of it. Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolls back up to wave 4 within 5. Then we go on for 5 more, rolls back up to wave 4 within wave 5, and then we have this plunge, as you saw. I'm sure you're getting that because that's what we had back here, right? Boom, that was it. right? Very clear. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that was it, and we were good to go, right? And so that's the discussion you're having right in here. I just doubt it. I just doubt it. If it is, you would need to see Bitcoin breaking out right now. And that's, again, the most unsexy thing any XRP holder ever wants to hear. They don't want to hear that Bitcoin is the deciding factor for XRP, but it has always been for the decade that XRP has been around. So I don't know. I'm still going to make my guess we're heading lower. Like even if, so like I said, my accumulation range for XRP is really high, really big. It's way down here. We'll take it off logs so it doesn't look so big. That's still pretty big. We haven't gotten there yet. So we have not even back tested the breakout level yet. We got dang close to it. But usually, even if you're going to find the highest level of support, like the absolute highest for those who remember the 22.5 cent days, for that similar style thing, that sits right there at about 42 cents. 41 to 42 cents is like your 22.5 cents from back in 2020. Okay? That's this level right there. So in the end, I just couldn't even imagine us not going to at least that level. At least that level. Did I lose my thing? There it is. You say, what's Bitcoin doing? What's Bitcoin doing? It's technically in a range. Big ups, big downs. How's Pepe? All right, surviving. Stock market. Crumbling, man. 450 points for the Dow. S&P down 1.37%. Coinbase in the green somehow. How's Master doing? They mentioned all their unprofitability. Surviving, dude. No way. Green on the day. You know why? Investors are happy to hear that Master MicroStrategy will sell their Bitcoin if they have to. So always remember that. One of the largest holders in the world, if they have to protect their business, they will sell their Bitcoin. Whatever, it's just a narrative. All right, Tim. Tim did, boy, I'm just going to say Tim. I don't want to do a disservice to your last name. Let me see what you're talking about here. No, man, I haven't looked into that. Structurally, looks like one of the stronger ones in the market, but if there's a spring phase, it'll likely go with it. But I wouldn't say there's anything astronomically standing about that particular asset that makes me say it's insane. It's been accumulating for a year like everything else has. It's held its June lows, but I don't see anything too crazy about it. That screams to me. Julio asks, BCB, do you care for the monthly chart on Litecoin? You got MACD cross going on down here, initial stage, right? You got the stochastic RSI ready to rock. You got 40 holding down here on this level. Otherwise, that's okay. I am surprised Litecoin was not one of the big ones of 2021. It did touch a new all-time high. I'm surprised it didn't go much higher. And of course, same story for XRP, but we know XRP had its own kind of issues. But Yeah, I don't know. Monthly looks okay. Super big strength pulling out of here. No big move happening yet. Cross happening on MACD with monthly support coming in there above 40, as we've talked about many times on the relative strength. 40 is the bull support zone. So it has still held, but there's been no real follow through price action as it has stalled out underneath here, right? So this is the problem it's facing with right now. So let's put it on weekly and say, okay, struggling, right? So that's the broken support level, and it's confirmed as a resistance currently. So that's the big level to break through. Is it ready for it right now? I'm not quite sure. I remember when we were back in here, people were asking, does this seem like significant resistance? It's like, yes. So it's kind of like we're waiting for big breakouts on everything, right? We're waiting for XRP to finish its accumulation, waiting for Ethereum to get its breakout. Bitcoin, you guys know my thoughts on Bitcoin. But as you see, Litecoin's under that resistance level as well. All right. Oscar. All right, I got you on that one. Sick Thinker. Pep's having trouble getting your... Oh, that's what we just talked about. I don't know why people would be having problems. I haven't been getting hit up for a bunch of problems. I don't even think I've seen... I think on day one, people were having a hard time figuring it out. But I haven't... It's not like I've... in the last 2 weeks, seen any messages of people saying they have had a problem. I'm not doubting it. You've probably seen it. I just haven't seen myself tagged in anything saying that they've had a problem. Jinx, you might need to rewatch the video, man. And if you have, I don't think you've watched yesterday's video either with that question. Okay, Oscar, I already got you on the forks of Bitcoin. And Oscar says, see ya. I don't know if you're saying see ya, like see ya later, or see ya as in see a coin. Gold, what are you doing? Yep, I got gold trying again. So yesterday, gold attempted to pop and failed. Now, okay, so you see what's happening here, right, guys? Stock market crumbling down 500 points, gold up. That's why we're kind of all on this waiting thing of what's going to happen. So you see that inverse relationship happening today. There you go, gold taking a big stab upward as the stock market is getting just absolutely plastered today. But we still don't have the breakout. So that's what we're all kind of waiting on gold. And really for equities, for everything, for cryptos, usually a bad sign. BCB, see a coin. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't even know. Is there any development on see a coin anymore? I don't think there is. Oh, Will Cruz. Yeah, dude, I'll elaborate on that. It says, what do you mean by the Elon tweets you sent the other night and the one after that? What was it? Was about the Twitter subscriptions and something else I was intrigued. Right. Elon is promoting that Twitter is censorship resistant, which is a total lie. They're absolutely censoring stuff and suppressing tweets. So, one, I had not eaten all day. Everybody on this live stream knows dang well how I get when I haven't been eating. So literally it was like 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I hadn't eaten a single thing. I had traveled to Consensus, traveled all the way back. And then instead of enjoying a day with my family on Saturday, I was on my computer writing up a long newsletter and recording it and doing all that stuff and released it. And then get on to Twitter after traveling, staying in a hotel for 3 days, traveling back, writing up everything, publishing it, only for my tweet to get suppressed because it has the word Substack in it. As you know, Twitter is really trying, Elon is really trying, we'll call it Elon, is really trying to get the subscription feature pushed on Twitter right now to get people to sign up for subscriptions to profiles. If you don't know, subscription is really just Super Follow rebranded. Many of you know I used to have Super Follows. I was one of the people that did get it authorized on their account. I was the number 2 in the world. So I had, for in-app purchases for Twitter in the entire world, Blockchain Backer was number 2. The only person above me was Pulte. So, but the bads outweighed the good on doing that as a content creator, having that kind of wall up there on Twitter, paywall up there on Twitter. And there was multiple reasons why it wasn't the right thing. And I had to make a tough decision that I was going to fire myself from that. And so I turned it off, canceled everybody's subscriptions and no more renewals, and just turned off that revenue stream as the number 2 in-app purchase in the entire world on Twitter. And obviously, Elon's pushing that. Everybody's adding it to their profiles to get people to sign up for subscriptions. I'm just going to let them all do that, and they will realize it in the coming months on the mistake that is made there. But I think there was a reason why the previous management of Twitter never actually went through with applying that to everybody and kept it the way it was and never rolled it out to everybody. But we'll find out how things go. The challenge now is going to be every content creator on Twitter is going to have this paywall up where there's more info. Are they really going to release all their good stuff out for tweets, or is it going to become a shill factory on Twitter of everybody saying subscribe, subscribe, subscribe? This is the kind of great stuff you get if you subscribe. It's going to probably become like that. But anyway, in order to promote that, Elon's trying to steal the business away from Substack. So by doing that, if you type Substack on Twitter, they will suppress the tweet. So I was pretty pissed. I just traveled. I just took my whole Saturday off to write that thing. Finally posted it, only for Twitter to suppress the tweet. For the purpose of that, they're trying to push the subscribe feature, which I know is likely, hear me out, in 6 months, people are going to hate Twitter. Hate it. It is the perfect opportunity now for a short form social media site to come out and attempt to steal everything away from Twitter right here, right now. And that's me making an educated, speculative guess. In 6 months, everyone will hate Twitter. So we'll see. That's what I meant by the Elon tweets. They were suppressing my tweet because it had the word Substack in it. If you haven't seen that, there's been other people who have brought that up. Doomberg has brought that up. Lynn Alden has brought that up, that is happening. And then it finally happened to me. And I was pretty pissed off. So there you go. Sia Coin. I don't know, man. So the cool thing about Sia Coin, it's a silly low price. How much is a Sia Coin? I own some Sia Coin, by the way. Less than a penny. You get 3 of them for a penny. So it's got that going for it. If there's going to be a Degen play over there on Sia Coin. Sia Coin's model is very similar to what Filecoin's is, right? So if you've heard me talk highly, like I like the concept of Filecoin. I don't like the tokenomics of Filecoin, but I like the concept of Filecoin. Sia Coin was before Filecoin came around. The concept of decentralized storage, kind of renting out your hard drive. But it was, I believe, that developer behavior has fallen off of that entirely. However, it is still listed over there on Kraken for the United States. And I think it's on Binance too, right? It's on a lot of places, but it's not on Coinbase. Okay, Blockfella, I'll give you that, man. Yeah. By the way, BCB, you were wrong about basketball. You were right about the NBA regular season where they pace themselves but not in the playoffs or international play. Okay, that's fair to say about any sport, and I'll agree with that. I will watch a playoff basketball game. If the playoffs on anything are awesome, no question. Everything's on the line, right? Most people will say baseball is boring. Most people will say baseball is boring at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday in July. Not me, man. I'll be sitting there just having the time of my life. Text messaging, being like, oh, dude, did you see that, man? Oh, he looks so good this year. Yeah, he just needs to stay healthy in the fourth inning. But, I get it. But baseball, who isn't having a good time in the playoffs when a home run gets hit in the second inning and they take a 2-0 lead and the crowd is going wild, right? So, playoffs are a different animal for anything. Yep, but football is only 16 regular season games, right? Everything counts. Every second counts. For sure. So, Blockfella, I'll give you that about playoffs. No doubt. But all right, guys, we're rambling. We've been rambling for a little while. So, I won't take too much more of your time. Let's take a look at the markets and see what is going on today. Gold attempting to shoot up at $2,006 as the Dow Jones is down almost 500 points going into tomorrow, which is the Federal Reserve interest rate hike meeting where the market does anticipate. Let's refresh it. It was 94.2 before the market opened. I bet it's going to be lower now. 83.6 as the market is telling the Fed, we're not ready. So tomorrow is going to be that. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We will live stream through that. We'll start it a little bit before that eventually happens. Remember, we will get the rate hike number about 30 minutes prior to the meeting. So I think it'll be at about, let's see if I still have it. Are you there? No. Are you there? No. Are you there? Yes. Okay, sorry. We get the interest rate hike at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then we have the actual meeting with Jerome Powell speaking at 2:30 Eastern. So we'll start before this. And we'll get our rate hike, and we'll do that. We'll live stream that, and I'll shush while that goes on. Then we'll have markets in the morning tomorrow. Volatility, as expected this week, probably be a lot of it. I don't know if it will go up or down during the Fed meeting tomorrow, but it can do both, and we've live streamed it. I don't remember what it did last time. Wasn't it relatively calm last time? I can't remember. The time before, we had what we typically see, right? So you typically have your fake out in the beginning. And 2 times ago, so not last time, but the time prior, we had our fake out to the downside, and then whoop, everything just started rocketing as Jerome Powell was speaking. So it's hard to know what will happen in the middle of those meetings, but we'll watch it together and see how that goes tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, that's the real big story of what's going on this week, and volatility and everybody preparing for that. As you have banking crises, as you have the debt ceiling. Janet Yellen, Treasury Secretary, came out yesterday, said, hey, if we don't raise the debt ceiling by June 1st, we're going to have to, we cannot continue with extraordinary measures to pay our bills for the United States. So we've got that going on. It's just a weird month. Again, one thing to keep in mind too is that this month we're going to be getting CPI numbers, consumer price inflation, right? So consumer price index, which is a measure of the inflation, is to remember when that data does come out. Is that we will not likely see a drop in the year-over-year inflation numbers this month. I've talked about this previously, is that last month we had a really big drop. Like I think we're down in like the near 5% or something now in CPI. But with our May of 2022 reading, it was really low. It was like 0.3%. We'd have to have like a deflation happening this month in order for that to or deflation to have happened last month in order for us to get a drop in the year-over-year CPI when we get the reading this month. It's highly unlikely. So just kind of have the expectation that when no matter what the number is that comes out for CPI, highly unlikely that we're going to see CPI drop year over year this month because we've seen rapid falls over the last several months. However, in June and in July is where we should see the rapid falls actually take place. I can't remember what my guess is for what will actually be when we finally get the July one. That will we settle there around 3.5% CPI or 3%. Is what my thoughts have been. Obviously, the target has been 2. I don't think we're going to get down to 2, but could we get closer to that 3? Maybe. Just don't expect that this month when we get CPI this month. So, all right, guys. That's it. Tomorrow's our big day. Today, crypto is holding up well as the stock market is getting absolutely hammered, and gold is up today. So we'll check in on it again later. Kale says, do you think Tesla can get back to 300, or we're just going to keep going down from here? Tesla looks like a bubble pop to me. $300, it might. Problem is, I just wouldn't put a lot of confidence on it. I just wouldn't, right? So, I mean, you say, hey, retracements, right? But you've done lots of retracements along the way. You've already done things to satisfy retracements already happening in there. So really the only one that seems feasible is really going from there. So maybe 250, 300 feels like it's kind of pushing it. Yeah, I don't know. We were talking about it in here, kind of warnings on there because you have your support turn resistance in here right now. I think it's taking a gamble to get back higher. I just, this was just a full-fledged bubble. I always try to speak truthfully in here, even if it's not the thing people want to hear. People do not want to hear this about Pepe because I saw how many people FOMO'd into it yesterday, how many YouTube videos were put out yesterday on how to buy Pepe. I know that's the same story for Tesla. It's like the retail investors, like pride and joy. It's the one they want to keep going up. It's very clearly in a downtrend. Just very clearly, you're waiting for the one that's not going to be it, right? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. You're just having to kind of wait for when is it finally going to get a higher high and then higher low. You don't have that right now, right? And with how big the bubble was, there's just lots of room for more down to come. There's just lots of room for it to go. You did hold 40 on the monthly. But man, it's just real rare to see bottoms come in like that. So I don't know. It's something I'm not interested in. First of all, Tesla. Now I'm talking trash about Elon suppressing words on Twitter and how that makes me angry. But it doesn't mean I don't respect Elon. I respect what he's done with Tesla. I respect what he has done with SpaceX. And I do understand and respect what he is doing with Twitter and that he is trying to make Twitter successfully financially. And what's not okay about it, though, is to do that, you're having to suppress people. I'm not okay with that. I don't think that's right. And especially if you're going to run around touting that this is, no censoring, no suppressing. It's very obvious there is. But I don't carry that bias with me when I look at the chart. I think Tesla is a very popular company, and I don't see any sign of it waning, right? But the chart doesn't look that great. And, well, the cold hard reality is if you're expecting the price to surge, you're met with these challenges right in here. You're met with the Dow back at the retracement levels. You're looking for it to deviate away from the rest of the market when its price rose during a period where there was euphoria, right? There was euphoria in the market during this time period for this to happen for Tesla. This was not that something special was going on with Tesla at the time for this to end up occurring. It's that the whole market was euphoric. This was the retail investors' place to flock to. This is when everybody still loved Cathie Wood and were, flowing into ARK. So it's not like Tesla did something magical to go on this majestic journey on its own. It was merely because retail investors were pouring in. And if we don't have that market condition happening here, again, can Tesla get enough stimulus money from retail investors to push that price up again? I don't know. Right. Oscar Hernandez. I went all in on Pepe and got a second mortgage for it. No, you did not. Oscar Hernandez is going to buy us Lambos. All right. That's it, guys. We're waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow's our big day. Crypto's holding up relatively well in a day when the stock market is getting punished as hard as possible. And gold is holding up well today as well. Somebody's lying. Gold is lying, stock market is lying, or crypto is lying. Somebody is, but I think we'll find out tomorrow as we have the Jerome Powell rate hike, where it's expected that we'll have a 0.25% or 25 basis points rate hike. Yep, and that's our big day. So, all right, Oscar Hernandez, Cowboys TA, I don't know how. Exceed, CNBC has been selling, and it may go away. A lot that does mean for good May. So, I don't know how to read that. They've been selling the sell in May and go away. Oh, okay. Also, SEC called Algo a security, and now the chart is looking tasty for entry. What are your thoughts, kind sir? Okay. I'm not going to give a price chart perspective on Algo. I don't have any skin in the game anymore with Algo. I had a small bag of it that I dipped into in November and December. I've now let go of that once it was called a security. I don't feel like playing with that right now. One thing to note, so you guys do know, we want to talk about developer numbers on Algo, and then we're done for the day, okay? It's bad, man. It's really bad. Year over year, from last April to this April, Algorand lost 57% of their developers, their full-time developers. 41% of part-time, one-time, or full-time. So that's one of the worst performers, the worst, really bad. So developers are running away from Algorand. What's interesting about that too is that is from, excuse me, I said that was till, what was that? 1 year, April, December. Okay. Till April, right? So April over April, they lost 57%. And let me see if this number's right. How did I calculate this? Full-time developers, December of 2022. Okay. And if you look at how many they had lost just since December, they'd fallen another 45% in developers. And this is only through April. So developers have been abandoning Algo at one of the highest rates of anything out there. You want to understand the developer abandonment rate for Solana? It's at 12%. They've lost 12% year over year. However, since last December, they've lost 13%. Okay. Algorand year over year lost 57% of their developers, and since December lost 45% of their developers. That's pretty big. So what's interesting about that data? That's through April. That's before it was even called a security by the SEC. This does not even take into account the SEC saying that it's a security. So, yeah, just so you guys know. I thought that one stood out to me when I was looking at all the developer data. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not the message that is portrayed on Twitter that this thing is going to be huge. the developers are gone. So, okay. But that's it. We'll keep going into that data more as time goes on. I find it incredibly interesting. We'll see how the stock market goes tomorrow. Now the Dow down 531. Tomorrow's our Fed day. We'll check in on it as gold seems to do well. And the cryptocurrency market seems to be holding its own during this moment. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. I hope that you guys are doing well. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.